Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Going For It Sim Studio. At the end of last winter, I embarked on this wild challenge to attempt to learn golf only indoors on a simulator for an entire year, and then go outside for my very first ever full round of 18 and attempt to break 80. That's a lofty goal, but there is a very small chance that that can absolutely happen. The craziest part is I wasn't a golfer. I'm a bike rider. It's all I've done my entire adult life. It's really all I know, and my full focus has been on that for many, many years. So who the heck am I? Why golf? What is this challenge all about? And why the heck is it sponsored? Let's go over all of that. Awesome. So let's talk about me, this challenge, why golf? So my name is Jeremy, and I was not a golfer before embarking on this challenge. The only background I had in golf was playing Tiger Woods on PlayStation when I was in high school between 2000 and 2004. And boy, did I play a lot, and I was really good at it. I got into golf because of Tiger Woods in the 90s and all his excitement, and I absolutely loved watching it on TV. But I wasn't raised in a golf family. I only had a couple friends that did it, and because of that, I just never got into it. I didn't really have the drive from my parents to be like, hey, let's get you on the golf course. And nor did I probably ever express the fact that I really wanted to do it. What I was doing was racing motocross, and that's where all my time and energy was spent. After that, I went to school at Oregon State University, where I majored in finance and got into bicycle racing. I had a great transition from motocross to downhill racing, spent a lot of time up in Whistler, BC. And then I moved to Bend after I graduated college, right at the first economic crash, when the funding for bike racing, sponsorship, and everything kind of went kaput. And at that point, I decided, hey, I can't really travel around and do this downhill thing anymore. So I decided, what if I got a pro card in every off-road cycling discipline? And that was my focus for the majority of my adult life. And I did that, and I actually was able to put up some pretty good results that I was pleased with. You know, I was never good enough to get paid and be on a full-time team, but I was able to get to a level where I could do some regional stuff, and I had some really cool sponsors that I worked with for many, many years. And then I am a regional sales manager for a company called Vericent. We are sales performance management SaaS, and I work with enterprise clients from their territory and quota all the way down to their incentive compensation management. And so that's a big time professional full-time job that is a huge focus of mine. After that time, I've got my family of 4. I have a beautiful wife. I've got 2 wonderful kids, 6 and 3, both boys. So I can assure you that my life is wild. And then you add in our German short hair pointer to the mix in that, and it's chaos around here. I still maintain my cycling fitness at the professional level. I just don't do any more races. And so that kind of leads to, where does golf come into this? I'm the type of person who has very few hobbies, but those hobbies that I have, I give it my all. I'm very driven towards very few things. I also pick things up relatively quickly. It's a topic that my wife makes fun of me for quite a bit. She'll pour her heart and soul into an activity. I'll show up and be right there, if not a little bit better, without any practice or knowledge of what we're doing. And golf being something that I've always wanted to do, but never having time for it. Of all those things that I just covered, where the heck is golf going to go into that? I'm ready to do something different besides racing bikes all the time because I'm getting bored. But I also am not ready to just hang it up and replace it with something like golf, which is another hobby sport that takes a significant amount of time. So I followed golf enough to see the technology behind it. And I've always had this dream to create this massive practice facility in town here in Bend, Oregon, that allowed golfers to go when they had a little bit of time, but be able to actually get practice. Because I have always wondered, why do so many people play this game and take so long to get good at it? I watched many people get into cycling and always wonder how long it took for them to get to the level in which they could actually go out and enjoy riding their bike rather than just constantly chasing that fitness level. And it's a heck of a lot quicker than golf. And watching buddies and reading magazines constantly about tips this and tips that was how can I make golf accessible enough where it makes practice so that you could get really good at the game a lot quicker. And I kind of put the two and two together and started calling some golf buddies and running by them this idea of, hey, what if I learned golf on a simulator? And then took that outside, and that steamrolled to, well, how good do you want to get? And I thought, well, what if I can break 80? That's a pretty good score, right? And I, of course, just immediately got hit with, oh, there's no way you can do that. Any golfer I would talk to and run the idea by them was like, oh, you'll never do that. This game takes you 10 to 15 years to even get close to 80. And I had one buddy, Brian Newton, up in Seattle, who I talked to him on the phone. I'm like, hey, what about this? What do you think about this? And he was like, you know what? I think you can do it. He's like, yes, 80's tough and it's going to take you a heck of a lot of luck on the course, but I know you. I know how driven you get, and I know exactly the route you're going to take to get there, and I think you can break 80. So I thought, okay, so how can I do this? And I'm like, man, it'd be really cool to have a YouTube channel. I'd love to document this, because what if I could document this journey, go from completely non-golfer, not playing golf, to breaking 80 in a year by only learning on a simulator? I could change the way golf is learned around the world forever. And that idea to me, and I firmly believe in this, was very exciting. And that led me to start doing research. And I did over a year of research on simulators. And at one point thought to myself, like, hey, what if I get some of these really cool brands who seem to have the same mission I do, to make golf accessible to the millions of people who have said that I would love to try golf, but I haven't, knowing that it's because the learning curve and the barrier to entry of golf is crazy. It's such a big time suck. It's intimidating as heck. A lot of the ego behind it can be scary. People don't like to suck in public. And it's a game where you definitely need to be at a level to be able to go out and enjoy. And it's expensive. You're spending a bunch of money on the equipment. You go and spend a bunch of money on your tee time. You don't want to be constantly hitting it out of bounds, losing your balls. You're just not having a good time anymore. So I reached out to a few companies and pitched this idea, and I got this level of support that was phenomenal. About Golf, Sticks, Carl's Place, and True Linkswear. These were brands who really harnessed what I was doing and had more excitement than I did. And that to me said, hey, there's something here. We have the ability to change the way golf is learned through technology. I always relate it back to the Peloton model. Peloton took an insanely boring activity, which is riding a stationary bike, and made it exciting to the masses. I mean, those things sold like crazy, and it's something just by putting a little screen on there and having some interactivity. When I was racing bikes, it used to be that during winter, I live in Bend, it's cold, that you would sit on a trainer and do garage miles. Look at a wall. And I despised that. I would do anything I could to put as many clothes on and go out in the cold as long as it wasn't icy. And then a thing came around called Zwift, which gamified it. It's like a video game almost, and you had achievements you could hit. And it made it just this much better to where indoor cycling became a heck of a lot easier, and those winters became easier because I had a bit of gamification to get me excited to train inside when the weather wasn't quite right outside. So enter Golf Simulator. Can I learn golf inside? The technology is there. I believe it is. The masses can install some sort of lower end. I mean, it doesn't have to be quite this extensive, of a golf simulator in your garage. You can hit into a net and have the simulator software on a computer with a launch monitor that costs $600 from Garmin, for example, right? And then this game all of a sudden becomes open to so many more people. Yes, I know the golf courses are already crazy with tee times in the summer and in season. It's hard, so you bring a bunch more people in. Makes it more difficult, but that's also really exciting for the sport of golf. That's going to open up more courses. That's going to give more money to the courses. Technology is going to move quicker. And then you have the explosion of simulators in Asia, right? Places where there's millions of people inside of a city. They have zero access to golf clubs, yet golf is bigger in Asia than it is in the United States. And those guys will golf at a simulator almost all the time and then make it to the course when they absolutely can. And their skills are getting there. You're able to practice. There's so many advantages to having a simulator in your golf game to drive that initial vision that I had of the training facility, where you take all the money you spend on coaching and lessons and everything you need to learn on the course, you can actually repeat that and put work in your simulator. And that is what's going to drive more people to get better at golf quicker and cheaper. If you look at it in the long run, like tee times aren't cheap. Memberships at golf courses are not cheap. And when you have your membership, you have your tee time, you want to go play. You don't want to sit on the course and spend the entire time practicing. I get it. It's all about perspective. How do we look at this different? And that is why I chose golf. That is why the challenge of going for it is to prove that the time is now, the technology is there, these simulator companies can provide you with the best training aid money can possibly buy. So as I get closer here, we're only a couple months away. We're gonna do a audience survey. I'm gonna list out a few of the golf courses that I think are gonna be options for me to hit. I wanna hear votes. I wanna hear what you guys have to say as far as, hey, this would be a really good golf course for you to give your first attempt at. I don't wanna sandbag it too bad. I'd love it to be, a top 100 course. I know those are more difficult, but it brings excitement to this and the challenge. And that's really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for this to be easy. Otherwise I would have said, let's break 100 in a year. And I feel great. I'm putting in a lot of work. I've learned a lot. The beginner lessons that I've learned and gone through, I hope that I'm sharing those adequately. It's something that I'm going to go back on and do many videos on to help as many people get into this wonderful game as I possibly can. So please like, follow, and subscribe. We're getting there. And even after I hit the challenge of breaking 80 after a year, this is just the beginning. We look forward to many, many more videos.